Krishna Prabhupada ki jai, Gurupan Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nikai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari. I feel like it's time for Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, but it's not. So I was thinking previously that we would speak more on Srila Gurudev, but actually, if you think about it very deeply, what Srila Gurudev is giving in his books, he's giving so many amazing, beautiful jewels. All of his bhavs and his moods very perfectly placed in such a way that it's a beautiful decoration. The descriptions of the beauty of Krishna, his associates, his pastimes, his form, all of these Srila Gurudev has given so exquisitely. And really, there are so many different ideas of Gurudev. But if we have seen what he did in his life, he spent so much time preaching and sharing. But just like Srila Prabhupada, what he could give also depended sometimes on the audience. But as our Srila Gurudev said, he left everything in his books. And look at what our Gurudev was doing day and night, translating, commenting, pulling together the works of our acharyas for presenting these transcendental scriptures. So it's not an ordinary thing that he was doing. He put so much energy into his books and wanting to somehow make that foundation for us so that we can fly on the path of bhakti. What kind? Spontaneous love and affection for Krishna. So Gurudev would always instruct us to read his books and to distribute his books, to share the teachings of his books. And he himself put so much energy into them. And when he himself would hear them, he would also be completely astonished. Because just like our Srila Prabhupada and all of our Guru Varga, what is coming to them and what is coming out is not from them necessarily. It is divinely inspired through them. And so when they're reading it, it is also ever fresh for them. Every year, when Srila Gurudev would discuss this particular Lila, Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam, and that Ashtakam, he would become so happy and so animated, and he would cry and laugh and bounce, and so many sweet pastimes of Krishna would manifest from him. It was a constant, steady flow. And all of those devotees that were with him for 30 or more years, they said every year, although it was the same subject, it was fresh and different and sometimes new. Even sometimes Gurudev would say, "It has never been told before, but anyhow, I will tell." So that was always fun to receive one of those little special, fresh jewels. But Gurudev was always so impassioned and excited to speak on the subject matter of Krishna and his pastimes. So before entering into this beautiful treasure and investigating its contents and its commentaries, we'll first pray to our Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swamine Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashto Tarashati Shri Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And the same thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashto Tarashati Shri Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga, Gaudiya, Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe, Radhe, Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. Sorry about that cutoff earlier.
My computer still said live, so I'm
Because
listening
it
and
was delayed,
sewing.
yes.
Yeah, it just, sorry, that's my fault.
It's not her fault. It's just what it is. Yeah.
Well, because it's delayed, so I don't listen to I listen to you live, I don't listen to what's on the computer.
Okay.
That's what
Sure.
messed it up.
Hare Krishna. So, as we have not spoken from this book in quite some time, it's not really a book. It is a manifestation of the heart of Śrī Satyavrata Muni. Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam was manifested from his heart. Over a period of millions of years, our Guru Varga has explained, as his own heart was evolving, his own moods were evolving, first from Namam Ishvaram. I'm offering my pranam to the supreme controller of everything, with the mood of awe and majesty, offering those kind of prayers. And finally going through so many different moods. Idam te vapurnata gopala balam. Oh, I want to always have this darshan of this beautiful baby Gopal form within my heart. And finally coming to this perspective, without the mercy of Srimati Radhika, not possible. Namo Radhikaye Tadya Priyaye. Who is the most dear to Krishna? Tadya Priyaye is Srimati Radhika. So he's offering pranam to her from this perspective. So our Guru Varga have explained that it is a progressive evolution of spiritual consciousness. And this particular treasure has within it the commentary of Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī. And then following that is the translation of Sanātana Gosvāmī's commentary by our Param Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And then his added commentary within it, his own Bhav Anuvad, full of transcendental divine sentiments. And then following that is the commentary of our Śrīla Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, which is also full of ras and full of so much bhav. So before entering into this beautiful treasure and investigating its contents and all of the deep layers and special compartments with so many beautiful gems, we will pray in the dust of their lotus feet in the words of Raghunath Das Goswami. Vairag Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnaya Apayanan Mam Anubhikshamandam Kripamburir Yapara Dukuduki Sanatanastam Prabhum Ashtayami. Begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods which are present within these pages manifest itself within our hearts. And we are still on the commentary of verse 4 by our Śrīla Gurudev. Varam deva moksham na mokshavadimva nachanyam grineham varishadapiha idam deva purnatho gopalabalam sadame manosya virashtam kimanye namamishwaram sachidanandarupam lasat kundalam gokule brajamanam. So the last time we were speaking on this beautiful manifestation of the heart of our Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, he had just referenced Radha Chintani Veshena Yasya Kantir Vilopita Shri Krishna Charanam Bande Radha Lingita Vigraham. That is from Shri Radha Vinobihari Tattvashtakam, composed or manifested from the heart of his Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So we were actually discussing this point particularly yesterday, because it was one of the specialities of the teachings of our Srila Gurudev, who is perfectly representing his Gurudev, that really the Rupanuga Vaishnavas, they don't like to see that Radhika is weeping in separation from Krishna. Rather, they want to see that Krishna is weeping in separation from her and always trying to attract her attention, always endeavoring to break her mind. This is the nature or the position of those who are true Rupanugas. They always like to see their Swamini victorious. Therefore, what do they say? Srila Rupa Goswami himself has said it. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Srimati Radhika is victorious over Madhava. We know that Krishna has a name, Madan Mohan. Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. Millions of cupids are fainting just upon the idea of his beauty, the beauty of Krishna. But there is someone who is so great, whose love is so powerful, that Krishna himself faints upon her beauty, upon her sweetness. And that is Madan Mohan Mohini, who bewilders even that personality. That is Srimati Radhika. So, Krishna, desiring to understand how it is that she can control and captivate him by her love and affection, wanting to know, Radha Chintaniveshena, completely absorbed in her, taking her mood by her permission, wanting to taste what she is experiencing. Yes, Sakantir Vilopita. Because of experiencing these moods, then her complexion manifests outside. But she is completely embraced by her moods of love and affection. Radha Alingita Vigraham. The form of Krishna fully embraced by Srimati Radhika, that is Vinod Bihari, Krishna. And from that, Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Hladin Shakti Rasmad Ekatmanavapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Vedam Gatoto Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Adunata Dvayam Chekyamaptam Radha Bhava Duty Sivalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita states that although he is Krishna himself, Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari, inside, the core is Krishna, but what is happening here? Radha and Krishna have come together in one form. Radha Bhava and duty means Radha's moods and complexion has completely encapsulated Krishna, who is present there. So really Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Prem Murti, the form of Radha and Krishna's Prem. Prem Purushottam Shri Sachinandan Gaura Hari Ki Jai. It's no ordinary personality. These two unlimited oceans colliding within himself, Krishna and Srimati Radhika. Because that verse says that they have eternally separated, Radha and Krishna, for the purpose of the exchange of love and affection. Pranaya Vikriti. This is love and affection. But again, these two personalities have come together in one form. Although they are one soul, they have eternally separated. Ekatmanavapi bhuvi pura deha vedam katoto. They have again taken form in this world as Sri Sachinandan Gaura Hari. So, and Srila Gurudev was telling how a sadhaka, a practitioner on the path of bhakti, should develop a particular mood of relationship toward their Gurudev. This is called Vishrambena Gurur Seva, very intimate Vishramba Seva. How lokik sad bandhuvat, like a worldly friend. Well, how does one develop this kind of relationship, intimacy? Srila Rupa Goswami tells us in Sri Upadeshamrita how one can develop this intimate relationship by engaging in these 6 principles of loving exchange. It's the 4th verse of Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction. Dadati Pratigrunnati Guhyam Akyati Prichiti Bhunkte Bhojayate Chaiva Shadvidam Pritilakshanam. 6 symptoms of loving exchange. are what? Giving something and receiving something. Right? You give gifts and receive something in exchange. Guhyamakya, reveal some secrets, something of your heart, and hear something also from them of that nature. And bhungte bhojayate, giving some prasadam and also receiving some prasadam. So for us with Gurudev, it would be, we are giving something. We can give some money, we can give some flowers, but really we should give our heart. And what is Gurudev giving? Also Guru Mantra, Guru Gayatri, Gaur Mantra, Gaur Gayatri, Gopal Mantra, Kam Gayatri, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and Hari Katha. This is the heart of Gurudev. We give our heart, Gurudev gives his heart, or her heart. And then, Guhyam Akyati Prichati. Really, this is, for us, any question, any revelation. I have this kind of thing going on. This is also called pariprashna, relevant inquiry. This is happening within me now. Now, where should I go? What should I do? And then Gurudev gives Harikatha, answers that, because he is Tattvadarshi. There's an exchange of revelation of the heart and then a revelation from that heart. And bhukte bhojayate. We can make something wonderful, offer it to Krishna, and then of course the prasadam goes to Gurudev. And then from there, prasadam comes to us. So bhukte bhojayate. And it says shadvidham. These 6 are the symptoms of loving exchange. But it says cha eva. Also, cha eva means and so forth. So those 6 are particularly mentioned, and then anything along those lines also increase this feeling. Just as any best friend, right? Your best friend comes to your house, what do? You eat together, you tell each other secrets, you hang out, you gossip with each other, and of course you might give each other gifts, especially if it's Christmas or birthdays or whatever. But anyhow, you might bring something, they might give something in exchange. This is natural, and the more that one serves the other in this way, the more the bond of affection increases, the attachment increases. For us, it is essential to become attached to the pure devotee, especially Śrī Guru. Śrī Guru Charane Rati, attachment to his lotus feet. This will bring us to perfection. They always say Charane. This is a term of respect, but actually it means to that person, to their moods, to their conceptions, to their personality, to their love and affection for Krishna. Admiring that. As one develops and serves that person, naturally they will also feel inclined toward us. Oh, look how much you are making endeavor. Our endeavor is the sign of our greed. If you have real greed, you will make it somehow known. It has to be. Just like if you're really greedy to eat something because you haven't eaten something in a whole week, then you will actually make an endeavor to eat something. It's not that you just sit there and go, oh my God, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Well, an endeavor will be made. That will be the proof of your real hunger. Some endeavor. You will be begging, crying, maybe taking something out of the garbage. I've seen people do that also. If they're really, really hungry, they will do something. So the sign of our greed for what Gurudev wants to give us and has to give us is that we make an endeavor to somehow attract their attention by service. Either direct service or following their instructions, which Srila Gurudev said, following my order is directly my darshan. So we can take that for what it is. He told us personally, following my order is directly my darshan. In other words, if we're not doing what we should be doing to please Gurudev, maybe Gurudev says, I want you to go and preach. No, I want to stay here and I want to massage your feet. Well, I want you to do that. So that means that we are being independent-minded. In that case, we could be an annoyance. So doing what is pleasing to Gurudev, this is what will increase devotion and bhakti in the heart. So Gurudev was speaking about this lokik sadbandhuvat. But like Sudevi told the other day about Srila Prabhupada speaking about that fly that landed on him. He said, this fly is directly associating with me, but it's causing disturbance. But if any of my devotee is distributing books, my books, or doing what I've ordered them to do,
1,000 miles away,
even 1,000 miles away, this is so much more pleasing to me. So what is more than just physically associating? Serving the manobhishta, the inner heart's desire of Gurudev, like Rupa Goswami did for Mahaprabhu. Shri Chaitanya manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa gadamahyam dadati svapadantikam. Rupa Goswami was physically far away, but he was so close that he was always able to dive deep within the ocean-like heart of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and collect whatever jewels he wanted. Srila Bhaktivedānta Goswami Mahārāja explained that Srila Rupa Goswami had complete access to the depths of the heart of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, there are some friends that will come to your home, and there's a little bit of awe and reverence, respect. They will have dinner with you, you will exchange some nice words, but there's still some distance. And then there's that extra special best friend. They come in and they jump on your bed, they hang out with you, they go into the refrigerator, take whatever they want, and they're so comfortable and relaxed with you that you feel that they are your own. They're non-different from yourself. And you're even more happy that there is none of that awe and reverence. Srila Bhaktivedānta Mahārāja explained that for Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami is like this. He gave him full access to his heart. So although he wasn't physically present with Mahaprabhu always, Mahaprabhu sent him to Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu said, Moraman Vrindavan. Means my heart is Vrindavan. So then Rupa Goswami is situated within the heart of Mahaprabhu, serving Mahaprabhu's inner heart's desire. Whereas, who was directly with Mahaprabhu? There was a servant who was with him. What was his name? Kala Krishna Das, directly with Mahaprabhu and serving him. And yet he became attracted by the gypsy girls in the forest, the Bhataharis. And they kind of lured him away from the service of Mahaprabhu because he wasn't really giving service by heart, at least in this pastime. So although he was physically there serving Mahaprabhu, still he was attracted to the Bhataharis, whereas Rupa Goswami was physically far, physically distant, but fully serving the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So physical proximity is not the barometer. As Srila Bhaktivedānta Mahārāja said, it is a matter of the mood in the heart. This is real Vishrambhena Guru Seva. This is real Manobhishta Seva. A katha keeps trying to manifest in my heart, but I'm going to save it for when we go to that location. Well, Sudevi's feeling a lot better now, and so we will be able to go out to any place in Braj with all of you sometime soon. So Srila Gurudev says the sadhaka should accept that it is his guru alone who can fulfill all of his most cherished spiritual desires. That is the only way he can enter into Rupanuga Bhajan. There is no other way. Now there's a footnote here. Rupanuga Vaishnavas are those who follow in the steps of Srila Rupa Goswami. The internal devotional service they perform is in accordance with Srila Rupa Goswami's teachings, and that is called Rupanuga Bhajan. Our Srila Gurudev explained specifically that real, true Rupanuga means those who are following the sadhana as Rupa Goswami practiced in his sadhaka form, or as in his devotee form, and they also follow Rupa Goswami as Rupa Goswami serves Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan as Rupa Manjari. They also follow her in the mode of service that she is doing in that realm. So this is a very particular or specific teaching of our Srila Gurudev, establishing this definition of Rupanuga, the purest or finest, refined conception of Rupanuga. So now Srila Gurudev continues. Srimad Mahaprabhu instructs sadhakas who are inclined toward this high class of bhajan. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That's Śrī Satyavrata verse 3. Trinad api sunichena. In every respect, the sadhaka should see himself as more lowly and helpless than the most insignificant trampled blade of grass. Means they just have to take whatever comes to them. And becoming even more tolerant than a tree. More tolerant than a tree means everyone takes the tree for granted, takes everything from the tree, including its branches, its fruits, anything, its shade. As a tree is standing in the sun, burning maybe, but still it is giving shelter and shade to others. This is what the pure devotees do for us. And if you take a rock or a stick and you throw it at that tree, the tree gives you its most valuable possession, its fruits. So you hurt the tree and it gives you its fruits. That's what happened to Nityananda Prabhu. When Jagai and Madai, which one of them threw the pot at the head of Nityananda Prabhu? For that, you get lasagna. Come on, Italians. So, he was injured. He was bleeding. And when Mahaprabhu came to kill them, he was calling for his chakra. Nityananda Prabhu stopped them and pleaded on their behalf. You give them mercy. Remove the demonic tendency within them and awaken the devotee within them. So even though they struck him, he gave the best thing, the fruit of praying to them. Not only to them, to the entire world. Amanina manadena. Expecting no respect for oneself or honor. And being ready to give all due respect to others. In this way, the sadhaka, or the practicing devotee, should always perform Harinam Sankirtan. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada explains that one should not be humble in front of everyone, meaning accepting all of their moods and their conceptions and their values. Okay, so you're telling me that I should give up chanting, that I should give up Krishna Bhakti, that I should go enjoy the material world? Well, I'm humble, so I will take your instruction, because who am I to say anything? I am so low, so you're definitely more than me, so I will accept your instruction to do all nonsense. No. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said it means to be humble to Hari, Guru, and the Vaishnavas. This is the meaning of humility in this verse. So if we just read the verse on our own without being under guidance, we can misconstrue the real deep meaning of it. Therefore, whenever we hear any instructions from the Lord or the pure devotees, we should take guidance of the devotees to understand what it means. Only those who are pure in heart, they can understand what it really means when the Supreme Lord is telling something. And also when the pure devotee is saying something, interestingly enough, which is a kind of a conundrum. I'll let you all mull on that for a little while. If we cannot understand what the pure devotee says, and it takes a pure devotee to know one, then how can we understand what that pure devotee says? So perhaps one of you can help me on that. I don't want to leave you in that space. When Srila Gurudev tells us something, he also is giving us the power to understand something. He's telling us directly. Why would he speak to us otherwise? That would be weird. He expects that we should be able to understand something of what he's telling us. If he knows or believes that there's nothing we can ever understand that he's saying, then why would he waste his time saying anything? Right? It would be a waste of time. Well, you should only understand it from this person. I won't talk to you. That's impersonal. Srila Gurudev came, our Gurudevs, Srila Prabhupada came into our lives, sat there and spoke to us as individuals and as a group with the special added mercy to give us the capacity to receive and digest at least something of what they are giving. They accepted us. They gave us initiation. They gave us instruction, and they gave us Harikatha. There should be something that we can receive. One time Srila Gurudev asked a devotee, do you have any questions? And they said, no. He said, oh, you know everything. And then another time he asked the devotee, can you tell anything that I've told? And they said, no. And Gurudev was quite unimpressed. He said, after all of this time, you cannot say anything. You should be able to say something. I've given you so much. You should be able to say something. So Srila Gurudev wanted us to receive something, anything, even if it's just basic parrot repetition. Or, as Gurudev told Sudevi, and you've already heard it recently, goo goo gaga. That much. Trying to serve Gurudev. You've told this, let me repeat this. Just as one offers Ganga Jal to the Ganga, or Jamuna Jal to Jamuna, in the same way, what Gurudev gives us, I have received that, now I'm taking that same thing that you've given, and I'm offering it back to you. Hopefully he will be pleased by that endeavor. As parents are pleased by the endeavor of a very young child to draw a beautiful picture, which looks like a bunch of scribble, but they have made the endeavor, and any soft-hearted parent will appreciate that endeavor. And Gurudev is more than millions of mothers of this world. So let's put that into context. Due to his pastimes in Dwarka, Sri Krishna himself exemplified this instruction of Sri Gaurahari. In one incident, so he's talking about Janarapi Silichena. In one incident, in particular, his conduct exemplifies this instruction. That incident goes like this. Very interesting pastime coming up. Once, Durvasa Rishi arrived in Dwarka. Durvasa literally means he who subsists solely on the juice of Durva grass. So there's a kind of grass called Durva. If you just drink that juice, then you would be Durvasa. At that time, Sri Krishna was sitting in his palace. As soon as Durvasa Rishi arrived before Sri Krishna, he exclaimed, I am very hungry. Make arrangements to feed me. However, the moment his meal was ready, he went away. Durvasa is always creating interesting pastimes. This is his nature. I told you he's a manifestation of Lord Shiva, and his function is to, like Narada Muni also, they're both transcendental troublemakers. Durvasa is present within all of the pastimes of the Lord as well. So as soon as his meal was ready, he went away. At midnight, he suddenly returned and asked for his meal, which was then served to him. When he had eaten only a little of it, he turned to Krishna and said, smear this half-eaten sweet rice on your body. Now, remember, Durvasa is a very powerful, mystic, yogi, brahmana. And Krishna is, in this pastime in Dwarka, Kshatriya. And the duty of all of the other varnas is to also serve and listen to the brahmanas, understanding that the brahmanas always have a deeper conception of why they're doing what they're doing. Traditionally, it was like this. Nowadays, it's unfortunate that brahmanas cannot actually really practice their natural trade, I want to call it that. It's not really trade. Brahmanas are meant to be absorbed in studying Shastra and helping to bring others to the path of thinking about Bhakti and Krishna. But these days, because of the way Kali Yuga is, so many Brahmanas have had to take other kinds of services. Many are rickshawallas and television repair people and this and that and whatever. Shopwallas, some are selling fruits or this or that. Their birth names are there, but they have to somehow subsist and survive. But traditionally, the Brahmanas, they were able to fully focus on spiritual subject matters, and they were also advising the kings, and the kings would listen to them because the Brahmins had the entire society's welfare at heart. And sometimes if there was a bad king, like King Dana, all the Brahmins got together, did a big yajna, and by that power actually removed his life because he was evil. So the Brahmins had a lot of power and potency, and their function was to keep society in balance or in check, that it should remain on the path of dharma, always going toward perfection, going toward devotion to the Lord. But these days, Kali Yuga, it's almost just the opposite. If you read in Śrīmad Bhagavatam what would happen, we see it in the world today. Everything that's mentioned, I think it's the 12th canto, where it says Manda Samanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hupadrita, and then all of the predictions of Kali Yuga and how the leaders will be. They will come from the lowest class. They will be completely uncontrolled. They will be egotistical, and they will be trying to take and control and use everyone for their own purpose. So we see this going on plainly in the world today. It's quite unfortunate, and yet, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, Kalera Doshani Jerajan, Asti Hyeko Mahatguna, there's still one great, amazing quality. Simply by chanting the holy names of Krishna, one can attain to the highest perfection. Kirtanareva Krishnasya Mukta Sangapanam Vrajet. So Durvasa told Krishna, after he had eaten his meal, he said, smear this half-eaten sweet rice on your body. Silently, Sri Krishna smeared the half-eaten sweet rice over his entire body. I'm sure it's nothing he had not experienced before. Krishna was always doing things when he was little with butter, and he smeared it everywhere except on the soles of his feet. The residents of Dwarka looked on, infuriated, but they could not say a word, because they're seeing Krishna as their everything, and it looks like Durvasa is abusing him. He's the king. He's their prananath, everything. And Durvasa is saying, smear this half-eaten. Mind you, half-eaten. So it's already touched by him. Generally, you shouldn't touch your hands to anyone or anything if you're taking prasadam. It's just the rules. And here it is, half-eaten sweet rice. Okay, you're the king of Dwarka, smear this over your entire body. And he missed the soles of his feet. The residents of Dwarka looked on, infuriated, but they could not say a word. Then Durvasa said, I want to ride around in a chariot pulled by Rukmini.
Yeah, I don't get this.
Well, haven't you seen those rickshaws in Calcutta that were pulled by humans? I remember when I was little, I went to Calcutta, and there was I forgot what it was called. That would be a human rickshaw. But it's not pedaled. A man would be holding the thing like a yoke and be running down the street, and you would be inside, wheeled down by them. So Durvasa is saying, I want to ride around in a chariot pulled by Rukmini. After Krishna made the arrangements for this, Durvasa Rishi demanded that Krishna become the charioteer. Sri Rukmini dragged the chariot along until, on the verge of fainting, she fell to the ground. Upon seeing this, the residents of Dwarka were unable to tolerate any more. So Durvasa Rishi abruptly jumped from the chariot and fled. Sri Krishna began searching for him and calling out his name. Durvasa Rishi again appeared. Oh, Dwarkadish, he said, even among the demigods, I have never seen anyone so self-composed and tolerant. Surely, you are the Lord and benefactor of the Brahmanas. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namah. I have enacted this pastime just to establish your honor throughout the three worlds. O Shri Krishna, on my order, you smeared my half-eaten sweet rice all over your body. Everywhere except for the soles of your feet. Your whole body has now become as strong as a thunderbolt. but the soles of your feet are weak and susceptible to being wounded. So there was a deeper reason why Durvasa ordered this, wasn't there? Remember when Duryodhana was given the benediction by Gandhari, by his mother, she said, "Come in front of me wearing nothing." She wanted to use whatever power she had by being so faithful to her husband. She had kept herself blindfolded because her husband Dhritarashtra was also blind. So she also didn't see. She didn't want to be more than her husband. By this she attained so much power. And then she told Duryodhana, who was going to go into battle, her main son, "You come in front of me wearing nothing." And she was going to glance over his whole body and in essence make him invincible as a shield. When Krishna saw him going to see Gandhari, he was completely naked, and Krishna was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm going to go before my mother." And Krishna was like that? You're going to go like that? You should be ashamed of yourself. How dare you go in front of your mother like that? You're not a little baby anymore. So Krishna teased him until Duryodhana put a small little gamsha, like a loincloth on. And then he went in front of his mother with a loincloth. When Gandhari removed her blindfold and looked upon her son Duryodhana, she became dismayed to see that he was not fully uncovered. So because he had worn a loincloth, that part that was not seen by her became susceptible. And that was the part where Krishna ordered Bhima. He told Bhima, because he couldn't defeat Duryodhana, Krishna told Bhima, "Smash his thigh with your club." And Bhima followed the order of Krishna. So that was the weak part. So Durvasa had Krishna smear this half-eaten sweet rice over his whole body. In essence, Durvasa is benedicting Krishna, making him invincible. I know we know Krishna is invincible, but this is all pastime.
So what was the inner meaning to doing that to Rukmini?
I don't know yet. I'm not there yet. So it made Krishna invincible, but where did Krishna get hit by the arrow? His foot. He was sitting with one leg crossed over the other, and a hunter mistook his foot to be a deer and shot in that direction. And that arrow hit his foot. And it is said from that's when Krishna departed from this worldly vision. Otherwise, nothing could touch Krishna. But he accepted that. So Durvasa said that now your whole body has become as strong as the thunderbolt, but the soles of your feet are weak and susceptible to being wounded. O Rukmini Devi, he continued, "I am very pleased with you. Seeing your devotion for the Supreme Lord and your extreme tolerance, I am compelled to bless you." Durvasa Rishi then blessed her, saying, "You will be the most exalted of all the chaste ladies in the world, and you will have everlasting fortune." So she did a little something for him, and he gave her this. Huh?
She already had that.
Yeah, well, he gave her a blessing. This pastime teaches the sadhaka the importance of tolerance and patience. Even the slightest mistake in one's dealings can result in an offense to the Vaishnavas and thus cause bhakti to disappear forever. That is a whole massive subject. Even the slightest mistake in one's dealings can result in an offense to the Vaishnavas and thus cause bhakti to disappear forever. I remember so many times Srila Gurudev would tell us, be careful even about joking with other Vaishnavas. Because in every joke, there's a little element of reality. Generally. Tell a joke, something that's cutting. Say, wow. Anything. And easily someone can take offense. And of course, we've heard this history of Kanja Krishna Das. And this is an example given to us as a pastime. So, once Rupa Goswami was remembering the sweet pastimes of Krishna and taking shelter of Sri Harinam. So, he was chanting and remembering the sweet pastimes of Krishna. At that time, unbeknownst to him, one person named Kanja Krishnadas. He was in Vrindavan. He was a Vaishnava, devotee. He was crooked in many places. He was like, you could say, crippled. And he had come past the vicinity of Rupa Goswami. And at that time, Rupa Goswami began laughing. And Kanja Krishnadas became very sad in his heart. Everyone says he's such a great Vaishnava, that he feels compassion for everyone. I can't understand why he's laughing at me in such a condition. And he went home, back to his bhajan kutir, feeling very upset in his heart. Why is he laughing at me like this? Immediately, the vision, the darshan that Rupa Goswami was having broke. And he was not able to see, or the pastimes were not flowing to him. So what did Rupa Goswami do? He did the correct thing. He went to Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī Pad. I was chanting and remembering, and the pastimes were flowing to me. Swarasiki Upasana means a constant steady flow, like a waterfall of the pastimes of Krishna were coming. But then suddenly, everything stopped and it's not coming back. Sanatana Goswami Pad said, generally this only happens as a result of offending any Vaishnava. Perhaps you offended any Vaishnava? Rupa Goswami said, I have not seen anyone at all. He said it must be that someone is feeling upset in relation with you. So at that time, Rupa Goswami said, what can we do? And Sanatana Goswami said, I have a plan. We should make a big feast and invite all the Vaishnavas of Braj to come. And then we will know who felt offended. So they made a big feast and invited all of the Vaishnavas, and everyone came except for one. Sanatana Goswami said, let's go see him. So Sanatana and Rup went to go see Kanja Krishnadas. At that time, they asked him, Prabhu, we've invited all of the Vaishnavas to come for the feast, but only you have not come. Is there anything we have done wrong? Please be honest. Please tell us what happened. Kanja Krishnadas said, the other day when I was walking past Rupa Goswami, he was saying about Rupa Goswami. The other day when I was walking past, he began laughing. And I couldn't understand why he's laughing at me in such a condition. So it pinched my heart. Rupa Goswami apologized profusely. And he told him, I'm so sorry, I didn't even know you were there. At that moment, I was chanting and remembering the sweet pastimes of Krishna. I was seeing that it was Krishna's birthday. And Mother Yashoda told Krishna, oh, you should go collect a very pure white calf and we will worship him for your birthday. So Krishna went to get that calf. First he was pushing from behind, but as Gurudev would say, that calf was just like this. He wouldn't move. Then Krishna came to the front and began trying to pull him by his neck. Little Krishna, pulling him by his neck. And gradually, step by step, this calf was moving forward a little bit, little bit, little bit. And as Krishna was bringing him closer to the home, Krishna looked up for a second and noticed, a pot of fresh butter hanging from the rafters. I need that butter. He couldn't help himself. He's greedy to taste that love and devotion of the cows and the Brajvasis. So he's looking around. What can I stand on to get to that butter? And then, I have this calf with me. So Krishna climbed up onto the calf, reached into that pot to get some butter, and immediately that calf took off, leaving Krishna dangling from very high up from the pot. And Krishna was screaming and crying, Maya, Maya, mother, mother, mother. And she came running to where he was, and she looked up, and there she sees her little boy with his arm in the butter pot, hanging there, crying, take me down, take me down. She said, no, today I have caught you red-handed. Today I've caught you red-handed. You will have to stay there. I will never let you down. And then he began crying more, please, please, let me down. Don't leave me here, don't leave me here. And of course, her heart is soft. She took him down. But when Rupa Goswami was remembering this, he was laughing externally. But Kanja Krishnadas took it personally, thinking, oh, you're laughing at me. And the result of that was Rupa Goswami's darshan. This vision broke. Now, of course, we know that Rupa Goswami can never be affected like this. because he's transcendental and completely pure. But for us, he's manifesting this pastime. But we should be careful not to joke at others' expenses. Is that right? Yes. At the expense of others. To make fun or poke at them or anything like that. It might actually hurt their heart. Especially if it's a Vaishnava. Then it can be very detrimental. Gurudev said here that for the slightest mistake in one's dealings, for the slightest mistake in one's dealings with the Vaishnava, an offense can be made and thus cause bhakti to disappear forever. So we should be very, very careful for Vaishnava aparad. That means what is against affection to the Vaishnavas, those who are practicing bhakti. Rupa Goswami speaks in the 5th verse of Upadeshamrita about Vaishnavas. Who is a Vaishnava? Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshashti chet pranathabhishcha bhajantamisham shushushaya bhajana vidyamananya nindadi shunyam hridamipsita sangalabhya. And there's also an article by our Param Gurudev, who is a Vaishnava. And also there's Vaishnava K, the poem by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then there's an article by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur explaining what is proper etiquette and what might be considered real Vaishnava aparad. And so all of these are necessary for us to go into. I notice that a lot of devotees feel like, I don't want to make any aparad, so if anyone is even going against the teachings of Gurudev or our acharyas or doing all kinds of nonsense activities, who am I to say anything? So I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let it go. So now we have the question, which one are we making aparad to? If we don't say anything, are we making aparad to our Gurudev and our Guru Varga and Mahaprabhu and Krishna and ourselves and everyone else? So there's so much to take into consideration. How to balance this out. I know it's a frightening prospect, Vaishnava aparad, but that does not mean we should not roar loudly in the representation of our Gurudev, our Guru Varga and Mahaprabhu and Krishna, especially when someone is going against them. So this is something that we should really try to deeply understand and delve into. So maybe tomorrow we can discuss that some more. I did ask Gurudev once, if someone has made so much Vaishnava aparad but has now come back into the association of devotees, can they still make progress? Because they're an eternal servant of Krishna, right? He said yes, but he pinched his fingers together very tightly and he said, but their progress will be very slow. But there is a way to undo that. There is a way to undo that. There's Surabhikund. This is aparad bhanjanpit. There's Devananda, where Devananda Gaudiya Math is, that is also considered aparad bhanjanpit, a place where aparads can be removed. And if we take shelter of any pure Vaishnava and weep and cry and under their guidance go through the prayashchita or the atonement, which is really weeping and crying from our heart and praying for forgiveness from our offenses, then all of this can be forgiven. It is possible. And then one can continue to move forward rapidly on the path of devotion. So now Srila Gurudev says, leaving aside all other benedictions, Śrī Satyavrata Muni is praying that Śrī Krishna's Bala Gopal form remain manifest within his heart forever. He only wants the form of Śrī Dāmodara to appear there. Thus ends the Digdarshini Vritti on the 4th verse. Wow. I didn't realize there was a whole massive annotation from page 81 from our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Mahārāja. I missed it, which was from that page, then placed onto page 97. So we will have to read that also, otherwise we will be missing maybe something important, valuable gems that he has presented. And there's so many verses, one after another, which will give us so much insight into so many of these beautiful moods and teachings. So we will end here. Śrīla Gurudeva ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. What's the time?
8:30.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was so late. Please forgive me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama So thank you all very much for giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings and instructions of our Srila Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and also for daily giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Gurudev. We cannot express our indebtedness enough to you all. So thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai. Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki
Jai.
jai.
Haribo.
Haribo.